Let's get salty!
Hey everyone, Zeddy here again to the brand new video. We got a bunch more cards to go over. There was a bunch more reveals, legendaries, epics, all sorts of cool stuff. So let's hop right into it. Let's take a look at some of the new cards from Fractured in Alterac Valley, right? That's the name? I don't know. Anyways, I'm a little bit tired, but let's take a look at some of these cards. So first off, we're going to start off with the Mage legendary Belinda Stonehearth. Reverse the last name and probably comes up with something pretty familiar. It's a 6 mana 5/5 legendary minion. So yes, a minion in Mage. That's right. Battle Cry, draw 2 spells, swap their cost with this minion's stats. So this is effectively a card you really want to play a big spell. You want to play something big. Let's say you draw 2 10 mana spells. You make a 6 mana 10/10. That's pretty incredible, as well as that spell will cost 5 mana. So basically whatever spell you draw from this card will cost 5, unless you've somehow hand buffed this card, which actually would kind of make it a little bit worse in some ways. But yes, this is like the big spell card that I guess we've been waiting for, but we're still waiting for that big spell payoff, although we do have one to talk about in a second. I don't know, Mage and Standard, like, I can't see, at least the big spell we'll talk about and everything going on in Mage, I just can't see big spell Mage being a thing. It is so slow. This is one legendary minion too, right? Like one minion to try and enable this strategy, this one high roll that comes down on turn 6 that doesn't actually actively cheat anything when it's played. Like, this is just stats when you play it. It could be a lot of stats, which is good, but it's just stats when you play it. And I feel like Mage already struggles to stay alive as it is and can do a lot of insane mana cheat, like turns 1 through 3 with like Incanter's Flow, the new honorable kill spell. I don't think big spell Mage is coming with what I've seen so far, but it's a cool card, and if the right things come along, it can certainly be good. But I just think this is much too slow in today's Hearthstone. So I'm going to give this a 2 in Standard and a 1 in Wild, where, I mean, you got Luna's Pocket Galaxy, but yeah, again, it's so slow, and Mage is the class that probably struggles to stay alive the most outside of maybe a Rogue. But Rogue has insane like removal tools that Mage just doesn't have. I just don't see it, but the card is definitely pretty cool. We also have a Warrior legendary, Captain Galvangar, 6 mana 6/6. So just whatever stats, right? But Battle Cry, if you gain 15 or more armor this game, gain +3/+3 in charge. This kind of reminds me of a dragon from Blackrock Mountain that if you were 15 health or lower your opponent, it would gain +3/+3. It'd be a 9/9, no charge though. But yeah, I mean, a 9/9 charge on turn 6 is pretty incredible. You could play that new 2 mana spell that gains 10 armor, and then you lose 5 armor, and you're basically there. You just need 5 more armor on top of that, and then all of a sudden you have a 9/9 charge. I feel like you kind of need to build your deck specifically around this, and I don't know if that payoff is really going to be worth it. But we haven't seen the Warrior Hero card. We don't know what that entails, but like the Warrior Hero card in theory is going to give you 5 armor as well, right? So almost right away it's got natural synergies with whatever it's going to be. I mean, pretty much every charge minion ever, almost every charge minion ever has seen play. This one's just one of the weirder ones that feels, you just can't play it unless it has charge. You have to gain 15 armor for this card to be worth it. But you know, you have the hero power, you got, you know, that one pirate that gains armor at the end of the turn. There's plenty of ways to gain armor, so it just depends if there's an armor deck that's worth running this in. I'm gonna give it a 3. It's a pretty powerful card. Warrior doesn't exactly struggle to gain 15 armor. I'll give it a 3 in Standard, and if this was odd cost in Wild, I'd give it a passing mark, because odd Warrior, you just click the button, you have a 6 or 9/9 charger, but it's even cost, so maybe an even Warrior could utilize it. I'll give it a 2 in Wild. This type of thing is usually too slow, but yeah, charge kind of making a comeback in Hearthstone, and I'm not really against it at all. Speaking of, by the way, the big spell Mage stuff, we have a big spell for Mage, Ice Blood Tower. The second ever 10 mana spell for Mage. I think it's the second one. We had Puzzle Box. I guess Pyroblast. Pyroblast was 10 mana. So the third, there might be another one I'm not thinking of, but at least those two. At the end of your turn, cast another spell from your deck this last 3 turns. So you have to play this in a big spell Mage deck. Like, you can only run big spells because you want to play this. First off, you want to cheat it with either like your Celestial Ink set, make this 5 cheaper. Again, the legendary we talked about. There's some other ways to, mana cheat, and then you can like copy it with the parrot, the 8 mana parrot. And you want to copy out stuff like the grand finale, get some 8/8s. You want to get Mask of Cthulhu, I guess a Flame Strike, Deep Freeze, but none of these spells are that phenomenal to cheat out, honestly. I don't see the payoff being there. That's what I was alluding to prior. Like, yeah, you get a free spell for 3 turns, but they're just not amazing. They're just not amazing spells in the current game. And this is still, even with the cheating strategies, feels very slow. Again, maybe we'll see the Mage Hero card. Maybe that'll help it even more. I don't know. But as it stands right now, I'm not sold on Big Spell Mage. And maybe in Wild, there's some pretty cool memes with like Puzzle Box and stuff like that. So I'm going to give it a 2 in Standard, 2 in Wild. I think it actually has more potential in Wild because there's more scamming things to do. And it could be a lot more fun. But it's just so hard to survive and do this. And if you're playing this in Wild, you probably want to run Ice Block, and then there's like counter synergies with all of that. So yeah, we'll see. There's probably more stuff to come, but as it stands, I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around Big Spell Mage being a thing. We have a new rogue weapon, a Burgle rogue weapon, the Lobotomizer, 2 mana 2/2 epic weapon, honorable kill, get a copy of the top card of your opponent's deck. So you play this, you would kill something, like exact lethal it, and then you get whatever your opponent's going to draw. Could be completely useless. Yeah, this is just, it's a meme Burgle rogue card. Like, I don't see this being a competitive card at all. I'm curious how it'll work with Doomerang in Wild. Like, if you Doomerang an honorable kill, will it count? Will you get something and then you can keep going? I don't know. I mean, you can always upgrade it with poisons and all that, but I mean, if you're rogue, aren't you just going to upgrade a weapon that kills your opponent rather than get value? Value just doesn't matter, and it's completely random. Like, again, your opponent's deck could be completely useless to you. I don't see this being any good in either format. I mean, Burgle rogue enthusiasts will probably enjoy it. They'll probably die playing it. They won't have a great win rate playing it, but they'll have fun, and that's fine. Fun is fine, but in terms of power level, I gotta give this a 1 in Standard and Wild. I just don't see how this card sees any like realistic play outside of, the Burgle enthusiasts. And I love you guys. Those decks are super fun. It's just, I just can't see it being real. We also have another sigil. They're continuing to make more sigils for Demon Hunter. It's a 5 mana sigil, most expensive one yet. It's a fell spell. At the start of your next turn, summon a random demon from your hand. And well, you guys know, Demon Hunter has some pretty good demons. And this is effectively like a 5 mana Skull the Minari one-time effect, really, right? Like, it's Skull the Minari, the legendary weapon for Warlock that would cheat out demons. It's basically the same thing, except it's only one time. So it's 5 mana, and you'll probably cheat out with the demons you're looking at, 4 to 5 mana. That's pretty good. Get like an Illidar Inquisitor. You can get even the Void Tear, that like 9 mana 10/10 that eats stats. Big Demon Hunter keeps getting more and more support, and cards like this are just going to help put it over the top. It's already like borderline good, and I feel like this might be that, like, the threshold might be a hit. Maybe they hit enough mana cheat, enough broken things to do in Big Demon Hunter to make it realistic. And you can mana cheat this as well with the other sigils, with Skull, all of that. I'm gonna give this a 3. Cheating out that much mana, and especially demons, can be proactive. Like, Illidar Inquisitor can go face. It's very powerful, and it's just a really good card. I think it's a really good card. I'm gonna give this a 3 in Standard, 2 in Wild, because that, again, strategy's too slow. But yeah, look out for this. Big Demon Hunter is just getting so many mana cheat tools that I feel like at some point it's got to turn into something powerful. Next we have Frozen Mammoth, a 4 mana 6/7 neutral beast, so insane stats for the cost. Mark might have a complete fit over this, but yeah, insane stats. So what's the downside? Well, it is frozen until you cast a fire spell. And well, in terms of cheap fire spells in Standard right now, Mage is definitely the best for that. They have like Hot Streak, which is 0, which could unfreeze this immediately right out the gate. And yeah, I think you have the 1 mana deal 2 as well. And Warlock is like Altar of Fire. You could play this with Altar of Fire, but that seems completely terrible. Yeah, I mean, again, is you need a really cheap fire spell for this to be worth the 4 mana do nothing effectively until it's unfrozen. You could silence it as well. You can also silence it. That works. But overall, I mean, if Mage is the only class that can really utilize a minion, it's probably not going to work out too well. But very thematic that you thaw it out with a fire spell. I like that a lot. But I'm going to give this a 1 in Standard and Wild. I just, Yeah, I don't think this is going to really see play. Next, we have yet another big spell for Big Spell Mage. And if there's ever going to be a spell that makes Big Spell Mage a thing, it's going to be this one. It is absurd. Rune of the Archmage, 9 mana spell. So not very many 9 mana spells in the game. We got another one. Cast 20 mana worth of mage spells at enemies. So it's guaranteed to target enemies. So it's a fireball. It's going to hit a minion or go face. All of that, and it's going to be 20 mana. It's going to somehow, I guess, calculate 20 mana worth of stuff. It could do nothing. It could do a lot. It's very reminiscent of Puzzle Box, and it can't really backfire like Puzzle Box could. I think this is the big spell that will see play. This is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. If you cheat it out, it can do ridiculous things. We saw like Solarian Prime, right? Solarian Prime is kind of reminiscent of this, where it would cast 5 mage spells, and I think on average you'd be around 20 mana worth of stuff. I just don't know. Again, like, is that cheating strategy going to be enough? Is this payoff enough to make it worth it? This is the one that's the closest. And it's the most random and the most mana cheat, which is why it's the closest. It's going to trigger me. I'm going to get very salty over this card when it screws me, but it'll also be a lot of fun, and it could actually cast Puzzle Box in Wild. This can cast a Puzzle Box, and all insanity can break loose. So I'm going to give this a 3 in Standard, a 2 in Wild, because it's 9 mana in Wild. But pretty ridiculous card. We also have the Warrior Hero card, Rakara the Valorous, 7 mana. Equip Battlecry, equip of Unstoppable Force, which is a 7 mana 5/2 weapon. After you attack a minion, smash into the enemy hero. So this basically does 10 minimum. You can upgrade it. It's just Arcanite Reaper that also goes face, and I don't believe it should absorb the durability. It should, like, one durability should hit both. So that's like a lot of damage. And then you have the Grand Slam hero power of deal 2 damage. Honorable kill, gain 4 armor. We were talking about the charge minion. Hero card probably plays into it. Yeah, it does. You gain armor. Deal 2 damage is good. All of a sudden, you're turning your armor into offense, as well as also more armor. This card just seems incredibly versatile. You can play it in whatever. You get a really good weapon. You get an upgraded hero power. Really solid card. You can play this in Odd Warrior and Wild if you really want. I'm going to give this a 4 in Standard and a 3 in Wild. This is just a really good card. And it can fit into multiple archetypes, and I think Warrior will really enjoy it, and I can't wait to see what the animation looks like of just smashing with that weapon. It looks pretty cool. And lastly, we've got the Mage Hero card. Mage Hero card has been revealed. Varden, Magister Dawngrasp, 8 mana hero card. Battlecry, recast a spell from each school you've cast this game. Arcane Burst is the hero power. Deal 1 damage, honorable kill, gain +2 damage. So this will recast Fire, Frost, Arcane spell at random. Only one of each, though. Only one of each, and it could be pretty non-impactful. And then your hero power is the same as before, but it can build. Like, you kill something and gains +2, it's up to 3, then 5, then 7. This seems, I'm gonna say it, kind of bad. I actually think this is kind of bad. The hero power is so slow. Like, you're starting off on 8 mana, trying to build up this hero power, and the spell casts, like, schools you cast are just, I just don't think it's that good, and it's at random, right? Like, it's not like the other one where it's at enemies, it's at random. You're probably playing a lot of other spells, and I mean, you can play it with some other big stuff, but the prior spell we showed doesn't have a school on it. I just think this card is kind of bad. It doesn't have a great impact on the board, and its hero power isn't great either. I don't know. I don't see this as a good hero card. I actually think it's kind of mediocre. I might be wrong. I think the battle cry is the biggest part of it. The scaling damage of Arcane Burst is just really slow, and we all know how fast the game is. Working on that hero power after turn 8 seems really slow. I'm gonna give this a 2 in Standard, a 1 in Wild. I think it's just not good enough at all. And considering the other hero cards, I'm quite surprised that its power level seems quite a bit lower. But let me know in the comments below. Maybe you guys think Magister is actually insane and I'm wrong, but I don't want to overhype everything, and I'm not sold on it. So there you go. That's today's video. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friend.